I want to explain a little bit to you about who I am as a black man, an African man, a Jamaican living in this day and age. I live in America. I grew up in a Jamaica that was not really dealing with ideas like racism. We felt we had dealt with it already. We were happy with our out of many one people stance. You know, the different shades in Jamaica. I suppose I was in a position of enough privilege that I didn't notice the stratification. I didn't notice how all the boardrooms were Lebanese, Syrian, white, and all the tenement yards were black African to the core. Okay, you had a merchant class that was Indian and Chinese and all that stuff. I didn't notice these things. You're blind as a child in many respects. I do remember the South Africans in apartheid, and because of cricket, because of the controversy whether the West Indies should play against South Africa in whatever cricket tournament was going on. So I knew of things like that. I came to this country in '85, South Texas, small town. I didn't understand the racial dynamics that these people had a history of being terrorized, and that they had to have their own culture and be insular and protect themselves. And I just thought, love all people, especially with my Christian background. In Christ, there's no Jew nor Gentile. There's no, all those things were overcome. I didn't see race. Forgive me. I moved around America, Texas, the Bay Area, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Los Angeles. And in each of those places, you start to understand a little bit more. A little bit more on the surface, you start to see the racial dynamics. You see the blackness of Oakland. You see the blackness of South Central LA. You see the blackness of Atlanta. You see the blackness of Philadelphia. And you start to have this understanding of what the state of the African is. Then I came back to Austin. And in Austin, I was there when there was a Black Lives Movement thing going on, and I didn't want to be a part of that because that just seemed farcical. But I did gravitate towards Pan-Africanism, even knowing that there was something reactionary about being a Pan-African that I always disdained. It was distasteful. I don't like being reactionary. I want to be something that I have always been and will always be. It's part of my problem with Christianity and all religions. We didn't have names for what we do, but we did them anyway. I don't believe that my beliefs, I don't believe that we were forsaken at any time in history. Man has always had the same possibility of relationship with Creator. But anyway, that's a side. I just heard something which crystallized a thought I've always had. This idea of a unified African was a convenience of our exploiters. There's a way to cast us all as the same and say, yeah, we're just going to enslave all these people. All these people look a certain way. Yeah, them the people we can abuse. And so it is natural to look at the people who are in the boat with you and say, yeah, these are my brothers. These are my, we are going to have to resist. And it is right. It is natural and it is right that we resist with these people who are in the same situation as us. That's a note to self, about how we resist right now. So we have developed a philosophy, Pan-Africanism, to link us, to link each other and say, yes, let's be reunited in the struggle. Let's liberate Africa. But to what end? When we go back to Africa, okay? Going back to Africa, looking at Africa right now, Africa has never been united. That is a fantasy. A united Africa is a fantasy. We can make it reality. But to act as if it existed before, that is a lie. Let's not enter into lies. Nothing can be built on lies. We want a united Africa for the future because we envision and we have learned. Okay? Be careful that you are not imitating your oppressors in forging a false unity. Be careful that you're not joining into something to fight against, because you think that this is the best thing that will oppose. Be careful that you're not being shaped by the people that you're opposing. Go to the truth. Reside in the truth. You may say that's not practical, right? That is why we praise those who chose the sea. Preserving your life, self-preservation is not the highest. It is not the highest. Trust me. That is not the highest principle. It may seem right, but you see what self-preservation produces, okay? The blood of martyrs, to quote, I don't know who said it, but it's true. Your blood must be given for what is right and what is true. To preserve a life, to live like a dog when you were designed to be what? Yeah, the exact opposite. That is not the alternative. It is better to perish. It is better to perish. Let us perish, let us live, let us perish in the truth. The shortcuts, they will always be attractive. I am this, I am that, so that I can join with you and we can oppose and beat that guy over there. Be wise. You will enter into contracts with people that you don't want to be in contracts with because you want to oppose somebody. That is an uncomfortable position to be in. The only true friend is the truth. Okay? Be careful in your machinations. Give thanks that the Creator has always been there. I pray I don't enter into these divisions. I will fight for my African brothers and sisters. We need to be restored. But more importantly, we need to come out of what? The lies, the deception. I am not purely African, okay? Whatever that means. Right? I cannot fight for fantasies. I cannot deceive my brothers and sisters. Be careful in your resistance. You don't so dig down deep into deception. Do not use their ways and become a deceiver as well. The truth, my sins, they fill. I wish I could say they have filled. They fill 1,000 graves. I'm glad I found the way that saves, and that only way is the truth. Okay. Yes, Lord.